Hello and welcome to another episode of Frontline Calling. Hi, Adrian. Good to see you.
I
You are still in Moscow and you have been following the so-called Victory Day parade today, where Putin has his big propaganda show, I guess we can call it, during the ongoing Ukraine war. I think we have to emphasize this too. The occasion, of course, is 80 years of end of World War II. But has it been the big propagandistic success that Putin dreamed of?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, yes, because a lot of foreign head of states came here, more than 20 apparently. The most important one from Russian point of view is certainly China's president Xi Jinping, who was here, who was sitting right next to Putin during the event. Also, he brought along some Chinese soldiers, by the way, who were also participating in the parades. Not only Chinese soldiers, they were from other countries as well, Egypt, Vietnam, some other countries. So this is certainly a clear success for him, showing the world that he is not completely isolated, like many or some leaders in the West would have hoped for. But he still does have friends in the world who are coming for this parade, who are showing their support clearly with the participation of soldiers in the parade as well. On the other hand, it's not the case that we saw like half of the world's coming here looking at the parades. It was a selected few friends, basically. They are important from a Russian point of view, but it doesn't really show that they are completely back in the game and things are like before the war. So I would say mixed success from a Russian perspective.
And Putin gave a speech, a short speech himself, right? Was there anything unexpected, or would you say it was, well, the usual propaganda show?
Well, I mean, nothing much unexpected. The only thing that's probably from a European perspective that was interesting is the references to the current situation. Once again, we've heard that many times in the past from Putin, though, making these links from fighting Nazi Germany towards fighting Nazi Ukraine. Now, this is the rhetoric we've been hearing in the past many times. He used this stage today to emphasize this again. From a European point of view, obviously is something people find rather disturbing. But we've been hearing that many times. And to be fair, people we talked to today, many of them agree with that kind of narrative. They believe that this is indeed the case, that they are fighting an evil regime in Ukraine, a Nazi regime in Ukraine, and that they are fighting for a good cause. So apparently a lot of people here believe in this rhetoric. On the other hand, it is not the scenario here that everybody believes in it. I would say you still find people who are critical of the government, of the attacks on Ukraine, but these people became much more silent in the past years, simply because it became much more dangerous to voice your own criticism against the government. We've seen many convictions of people who spoke out against the war, ended up 7 years in jail for that. And just a few days ago, I talked to two students here, and they said, yeah, we're happy to do an interview, but please don't film our faces. What we have to say is nothing revolutionary. It's simple criticism, but in today's Russia, we can end up in jail for this. And that pretty much shows how scary the situation is. And that one student said, I mean, already the fact that I have to turn my back to the camera to say simple things like this tells you a lot about today's Russia.
Have you also had the chance to speak to other people on the streets?
Well, one very particular character indeed, Vladimir Solovyov, one of the most famous propagandists, people would say here, hardliners supporting the Putin regime, who has a TV show here, a popular TV show in Russian TV, who was also a visitor at the parade. We used the opportunity to talk to him and, well, got rather interesting answers. Let's have a listen.
Do you think relationships between Russia and the new chancellor could improve, or you think they might?
But of course they can improve. After you decided to get Taurus to Ukraine and stand strong against Ukraine, when I see your tanks in Kursk gubernia, there's one thing for sure. Yeah, we're going to improve our relationship when we're back in Berlin, and this time for good. Relationship, man, there were two devastating wars, and both of them were not good for Germans. Don't start the third one.
So you don't think there would be any change in policy under the new chancellor in Germany?
If I hear right what Schmerz have to say, plus since when he became popular, I think that he used to be one of the less popular politicians of all times. Well, he's definitely probably a little bit more energetic than the previous one, but still quite bad.
So what would be the consequence if he really pushes through and deliver Taurus systems to the Ukrainians?
You'll see them. I don't want to repeat it, but I'll have to. May 1945, my grandfather, Solomon Shapiro, made a picture, Brother Gates. I'm not sure that I want this picture to be made once again with me, but if I have to, I will. Don't put Russians. We're two nations that are the best fighters in the world. And instead of being together, they want you to come to our land with the same result as usually happens. Don't do that. So far you're around the Zelensky charm, Nazi charm, not for the first time in the history of Europe.
Nazi charm.
Nazi charm, yeah, Nazis. One day, sooner or later, you're gonna wake up. Whether you like the smell of the coffee or not, we'll find out later. But one thing for sure, the best possible friend is Russia. The worst possible enemy is Russia. Do you think that you can send your troops and your soldiers to Russia or to Ukraine to fight against Russians? Sorry guys, you're gonna die.
I mean, obviously, those people who come here for these parade events, I would say, are more likely to be in support of the president. Obviously, of those who really can come to the Red Square, they need specific invitations. There's very limited space. I mean, in a nutshell, to organize all this is like a huge event. For days, the Red Square has been closed. The preparation has been really very accurate. Every detail is planned. We had to get up today at 6 in the morning to get on the Red Square, where the parade basically started at 10, and it was a big hustle to find streets that are not closed down. I mean, the whole city center was closed down, more or less. Most streets were closed down. The phone network went off, at least the mobile internet went off for 3-4 hours during the parade, because obviously there was a big fear that there might be attacks from the Ukrainian side. Remember, there was the 3-day ceasefire that Putin asked for. The Ukrainians said, well, we've asked for 30-day ceasefire a long time before. Why can't we agree on that? Eventually, there was no agreement on a ceasefire. The Russians said, all right, we go ahead. We will not do attacks. Both sides, in the meantime, said everybody's breaking this kind of agreement. So it goes back and forth. But in the end of the day, there was no real ceasefire. And there was the fear here that there could be possible drone attacks. Nothing happened, but you could feel a certain tension here, definitely, and especially in the morning.
Well, thanks so much, Adrian. It's really great to get some direct impressions from Moscow. It's certainly something we don't get every day. Are you still going to stay a little bit longer, or are you almost on your way back to Germany?
Well, not much longer this time, but considering how things are unfolding in the next weeks and months, probably, although it's been a bit of a standstill in terms of peace negotiations, I do believe, and a lot of people here do believe, there will be some movement in the next days, weeks, or months. So I believe I'll be back rather sooner than later.
We'll definitely talk soon, I'm sure. Thanks so much. Stay safe. Also, thanks a lot to our listeners and viewers, of course. And well, I guess I'll see you soon again. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jan. Bye-bye.